All right, we're here at Jianfu Zoo's property in Lawrenceville, about to do a repair test. Right now I'm looking at one of the left facets, or the left facet of the property here. This is the front here. We're looking at the left. Wooden damage shingles on this one, so we're going to be testing for viability of repair. Now, I've identified a wind damage shingle to use for the repair test here. And I've marked out an area of repair, including all the shingles that may be affected as a result of the repair test. I'm going to give you a brief overview of the area of repair so you can see its conditions prior to us getting started here. I'll be using a roof snake and hammer to perform this repair test, being careful not to lift the shingle more than 45 degrees. Towards the end of the repair test, I'll document if any damages occur, take close-up photos, send it off to you. So we got the roof snake here, hammer here, wind damage shingle here. I'm going to set my camera up and we'll get started. All right, wind damage shingle here. I'm going to start unsealing. Looks like we got some mat transfer here. So mat transfer there. We are fully unsealed. I'm going to start removing the nails here. All right, we have a nail that has punched all the way through. Gonna stop right here. We have a nail that has punched all the way through, causing a tear here. Once you cause a tear that enlarges this hole that the nail sits in, that creates a hazard where wind-driven rain can kind of get up underneath here, because there's now space where the nail surrounding the nail where water can get in. So just wanted to notate that. Obviously, you can also see signs of mat transfer here as well, and we're not yet halfway through. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue. Make sure. All right, cool. This one's come out okay, as you can see. Just for comparison purposes. Another one has come all the way through here and popped through. All right, we're halfway through the repair test here. Next steps will be to replace the shingle and nail it down using the roof snakes, and then we'll be able to document the final results. But as I have you here, I want to already show you the signs of mat transfer here. You can see the fibers there, big chunks here as well on these tabs, and that's throughout on all shingles involved with the repair test here. And we all know that mat transfer hinders the shingles from sealing properly, resealing properly, especially if we're going to take this shingle out, replace it with a new shingle, because these have come off, the sealant has come off on these tabs here. That creates a hazard to where wind and wind-driven rain can get up underneath there because it's not sealing properly. All right, so we want to make note of that. We also want to make note, though this is on the shingle that that was damaged and would be removed, this is a sign of the nail popping through, right? Punching right through when trying to remove it. The shingle raises up, pushes through over that, most likely overdriven nail here, which is why it comes off like that, and then creates a greater hole to where now if we were to input a new nail in there, there's space surrounding the nail where wind-driven rain can get up underneath there, as opposed to compared to this nail here where the nails come out properly. And you can even see the ring to where the cap of the nail sits flush, creating no space for water to come in underneath. However, now here you can see where that hole is enlarged due to the nail, the cap of the nail punching through the shingle here. So if this was a shingle that we were, for instance, I'll show you later on the top level, which we were leaving there and re-nailing, that would create a hazard for wind-driven rain to get up in there. All right. So now that we've notated that, we're halfway through. I'm going to go ahead and replace the shingle. I'm going to nail it down using the roof snake, and then we'll document the final results. All right, we finalized everything. Grab my chalk here. All right, so this was the wind damage shingle that we used for the repair test. I'm gonna start with the exterior and then go up underneath and show damages underneath. For the most part, everything looks pretty good except for this tab right here. This is shingle number 8 here. You can see that line indicating fracturing in the tab here, and you can see in the lift where that acute angle is happening, right where the fracturing in the matting of the tab is happening, right? So 2 clear signs that there's damage to the matting. You have the granule loss, right, creating a line there. That granule loss happens when the acute angle happens when the tab is lifted. That acute angle applies pressure to the granules in that area, pushing them out, creating a crease. But that acute angle only happens when there's a fracturing that's happening in the matting there. And now that we know that the matting is fractured, that fracturing of the matting creates a hazard in which the shingle itself cannot do what it's intended to do, which is shed water properly. And it becomes a hazard. To the roof here. All right, so we got that here. I marked that there. All the other tabs look pretty okay. Now, as we transition to underneath the shingle here, right, you can see very clear signs of heavy mat transfer here. Not only here on the seal line, but also underneath here. You can see where big chunks of, you can see where the exposed fibers are there, and big chunks of that have transferred over to the seal line. Now, if we were to input a new shingle here, nail it down and everything's cool, as we lay this down, it will not seal properly. It will create a hazard where wind and wind-driven rain can get up underneath, relift this, and then coupled with this here, which is now, as I can show you, you can see the signs of mat transfer there, but now you also see where that nail pushed through, that nail cap pushed through, causing damage to the shingle here, causing fracturing and damage to the shingle, creating that space around here where wind-driven rain can get up underneath and find access to the roof. So now you put these two together, you have the mat transfer here that you can see here, right? Mat transfer, the shingle is not resealing properly. Wind-driven rain lifts this up. Wind lifts this up. Wind-driven rain gets up underneath, and then it finds access right here at the point which the nail head popped through the shingle here. All right. More signs of mat transfer here as well. All right. This is what a proper nail pull looks like. The nail came out properly, sits back flush on top of the shingle here. All right, second level as well. There was no nail there. Second level as well, you can see mat transfer here. Also indicated underneath, you can see where the chunks of the shingle here, the matting here has pulled off. All right, this is a proper nail head sitting flush here. More signs of mat transfer here. And then here's another example of, because this nail pushed through, you see that space right at the top there where wind-driven rain can get up underneath there. All right, so we got the fractured shingle, the mat transfer, and then of course the fracturing of the nail in the areas of the nail there where the overdriven nails pushed through the shingle and caused damage and creating a hazard. So I'm gonna take close-up photos of everything and send it off to you.